Yo, what is going on, everybody? It is treat time, and today I have a beat breakdown video for you. I'm going to be walking you guys through how I created my bubblegum beat. If you haven't heard it, it's on my channel right now. It's my most popular beat that I have on my channel. It's approaching 1 million views. It's in the style of ASAP Rocky and ASAP Ferg. So yeah, let's get into it. I started with a splice melody, and this is what it sounds like. Yeah, so you get the point. I really like the piano. It's very dark and sinister. This was kind of audio I was looking for, so I grabbed this and let's throw that in the playlist. My thought process at this point is I have two problems. The first problem is this sample's at 85 BPM or 170, which is a little bit too fast for my liking. Most ASAP Rocky, ASAP Ferg beats are between 120 and 160 max, and as you can see I have mine at 132, so I was kind of in between. That's the first problem, is I need to get this sample to be tempo that I'm working with. It's a little bit too fast right now. Instead of making a 16 bar loop, because that's what it is, if I stretch that out, that's what this sounds like. And don't get me wrong, that's dope, but since I'm going down to 132, it's a little bit too slow, and you don't want that, you want some bounce. So instead of making a 16 bar loop, I actually made an 8 bar loop, and you're gonna listen to that, it's really fast. But again, I'm gonna half time it. This brings me to my second problem. So now that I stretched it and half-timed it, it's a little bit too low. That's another thing. This is an A sharp minor, which is a good scale to be in, but if you guys know, when you make beats, if you put the 808 at a high A sharp, it's too high of a bass, and if you put it a low A sharp, like A sharp 4, it's a little bit too low. I want to change this to C sharp minor. So to do that, I just raised it by 300 cents. Alright, but we still have a problem. So I raised it by 300 cents, we're at C sharp minor, but it's still kind of too low because I half timed it. If we look at the EQ right here, all in that bass frequency. So if I put an 808 on there, it's going to be super muddy. So one way around that, because if I try to pitch this up more, full octave, I'm going to be back at A sharp minor, which is where I was at. So really what I want to do is just export this as a new sample. Make unique a sample. Boom. So here we have it. Now what you can do is you can get rid of this pitching and it'll still be at C sharp minor. Now we can pitch this up a whole octave. That sounds much better. So now we have the bounce, and now it's higher in the frequency range, so it's not all in the bass, it's more in the low mids and the mids. That's what we're looking for. So now we have our sample. That's it. And then all I really did with that sample for processing, like I said, I threw halftime on it, but EQ wise, I cut out the lows and I cut out some of the highs, which gives it kind of like a old radio vibe, but it also helps leave room for the 808 obviously, and the hi-hats and the snare in the higher ranges. Yeah, so that's it. And then my thought process was like, okay, that would be pretty repetitive if I just played that out for fucking 3 minutes, right? So I did a little change up for, what is that, 16 bars, where instead of having it C sharp, I dropped it down 700 cents, which brings it to F sharp minor, and then we get this. So it's lower, but it's not as low as a whole octave change. I wanted to bring it down, but I didn't want it to bring it all the way down, if that makes sense. I added this simple counter melody, if you want to call it that. It's really not much going on. This is another sample from Splice, but it's just a vocal melody that plays one note. And instead of playing it on the downbeat, I played it on the offbeat. And the original sample was in B, so I pitched that up 200 cents just to put it in C sharp. And we have this. Super simple. And then for the other part, I didn't want to leave it up high because the other sample's going down. So actually for this part, instead of making it F sharp minor, I actually did a whole octave, so it's C sharp minor, just an octave lower, and we have this. Yeah, and that's it for the melody, guys. Pretty simple, man. I just moved on to the drums. Just a two-step pattern, added some simple rolls in there, and that's it. Nothing crazy, guys. And the snare, I don't even have like a snare, a bouncy snare in between. It's just simple snare pattern. For the hi-hats though, I have a little bit of sauce for you guys. I did a little bit of EQ, raised the high, cut out a little frequency that I didn't like too much, and then I added on this Panomatic. So this is really helpful for hi-hats. If I turn it off, just kind of bland. If you have this Panomatic, this is the real magic. So it's going to be making that pan that hi-hat so it's going out through all your ears, It's gonna be making it go like throughout the spectrum, you know, so you hear it in your left, you hear it in your right. Just give it kind of like more bounce. And then for the kick, it's a simple kick pattern, nothing crazy. Yeah, and then for the 808, first thing you'll notice is I didn't put it so that it's hitting every time the kick's hitting. I kind of spaced it out, and that's because this 808, this A$AP Rocky 808, has a long tail, so it's almost like a sub. So I kind of spaced it out just to let it breathe. Yeah, that's it, guys. Super simple. And then the only other thing in this drum pattern is a hi-hat, just to give a little bit more bounce. That's it. Keep it kind of interesting. I changed up the 808 or the drum pattern for when the melody changes as well. But I really didn't do much, guys. I kept the same hi-hat, same drums. The only thing I changed was the 808. Kick is the same, everything. I dropped it down to F sharp minor, so that's why I raised up the 808 to F sharp. As you can tell with this one, I kind of added more 808s. I wasn't spacing out as much, and that's mainly due to me raising up the 808. You know, the lower the 808, the more tail it has. The higher it goes, the less tail. And I used a different 808 completely. I used this Nudie 808 instead of the A$AP Rocky one. If we look at that one, it just has a way smaller tail, so that's why I kind of added more notes. And this one's just following the kick pattern exact. And then I just lower it down on the last bar there to C sharp. Yeah, and that's it, guys. The only other effect that I added, it's basically a drum kind of effect, is the Wap Effect, which is sounds like this. And then pattern 2 is the same as pattern 1. I just got rid of the open hat. That's it. So 3 different drum patterns, but they're all pretty similar. And then the only other thing here is the vocal sample, which I grabbed from Project Pat, Good Googly Moogly Acapella. I just grabbed that off YouTube, you know, found a part in there that I liked,
She got a bubble gum cap with a that's snapping with some rhino.
The part where he says she got a, that's on the offbeat. So he actually comes in on bubblegum. So I cut off that. I just grabbed the bubblegum.
Bubble gum cap with a that's snapping with some bubble.
I just dragged it on beat. So that's where it loops. Stretch that.
Bubble gum cap with a that's snapping with some bubble gum cap with a that's snapping with some bubble gum cap with a.
And I did that real quick. It's a little bit off, but that's basically what I did, as you can see here.
Bubble gum cap with a that's snapping with some bubble gum cap with a that's snapping with some.
Just loop that. For processing, I just cut out the lows, cut out the highs, kind of similar to what I did with the melody. Just kind of wanted to give it that that radio effect. And that's it, guys. And then the last thing that everybody asked me about is how I get that cool effect on the beginning and the end, and that's just reverb. That's all that is. So I originally used Manny and reverb, but that messed up. So that's a Waves plugin. That messed up. So I actually just put on Fruity Reverb. And that's the beat, guys. Really simple. Just really finding a sample or a loop that you like. And honestly, I like having it a different BPM than what I'm working with. That way you can stretch it, make it faster. You can throw halftime on it. You can chop it if you like. This one was really simple. I just stretched to my BPM. It was a little bit too fast, so I hit it with halftime, and it gave it a cool bounce. And then just keeping the beat interesting, you know, changing parts so it's not the same thing all the time. And then adding those cool vocals. And yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna let it play out. And but if you enjoyed this, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Really helps out a lot. Let me know if you want more of these videos in the future. Thanks.
TREETIME.